This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. The question before New York's highest court is simple. Should non-citizens be allowed to vote in local elections? The answer, in my view, is even simpler. No. Period. Voting is a fundamental right of citizenship, not a convenience to be handed out like a Metro card. New York City's attempt to allow non-citizens, nearly 800,000 of them, to vote in local elections is not just misguided. It's an outright assault on the very concept of American democracy. Our system is built on the idea that citizens, not visitors, not temporary residents, not those just passing through, have the power to shape their government. Citizenship comes with responsibilities, and one of its privileges is the right to vote. The privilege should not be diluted. Let's be clear, this isn't about taxes. Yes, non-citizens pay taxes, but so do tourists when they stay in hotels. So do commuters who work in the city but live in New Jersey. Should they get a say in our elections too? Of course not. Paying taxes is not the same as taking an oath to uphold the Constitution, to commit to the laws of this country, and to embrace the responsibilities of citizenship. Voting should remain a sacred right reserved for those who've made that commitment. The New York State Constitution explicitly says that voting rights belong to, quote, every citizen. Not every taxpayer, not every resident, every citizen. That means this proposed law isn't just bad policy, it's unconstitutional. An appellate court already struck it down for that very reason, and yet here we are, fighting over something that should be common sense. Proponents argue that non-citizens should have a say in local matters like education, housing, and public safety. Guess what? They already do. By participating in their communities, attending local meetings, and voicing concerns. They can even vote in community education council elections. The only thing they lack is a ballot. And if they want that, the path is clear. Apply for citizenship. Take the test. Pledge allegiance to the country. Then and only then should they have the right to vote. Let's not kid ourselves about what's really going on here. This is a political power grab. This is about politicians who are more interested in locking in votes than in upholding the rule of law. If non-citizen voting is allowed to stand, what's next? State elections? Federal elections? The minute we start blurring the line between citizens and non-citizens at the ballot box, we erode the very foundation of our democracy. New York's highest court, the Court of Appeals, must uphold the Constitution and strike down this reckless attempt to undermine what it means to be an American.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Buick. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the Buick Certified Service Fresh Start Tire Event. Visit Buick.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only. Highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Campaign fundraising should be about engaging willing supporters, not tricking unsuspecting donors into giving more than they realize. Yet, according to a recent Politico New Jersey report, Bill Spadia's campaign has been using automatically checked recurring donation boxes, a tactic that has left many elderly donors unknowingly contributing over and over again. Now, to be clear, I like Bill Spadia. He's a friend, and I respect what he's trying to do politically. This isn't about him personally. It's about a larger trend in political fundraising that needs to be stopped. The Politico New Jersey report highlights a troubling pattern. Many of the donors caught in this situation are retired, living on fixed incomes, and often unaware that they are making ongoing contributions. Some had no idea who Spadia even was. They thought they were giving to support Donald Trump, only to find out later they'd been repeatedly charged for donations they never intended to make. This isn't just a Spadia issue. It's part of a larger systemic problem in political fundraising. These pre-checked recurring donation boxes have been causing controversy for years. Remember the New York Times report from 2020? This is the same playbook that led to widespread complaints, drained bank accounts, and in some cases, forced people to cancel their credit cards. Let's be honest. No one is arguing that campaigns shouldn't raise money. But there's a difference between rallying support and exploiting confusion. If someone wants to donate monthly, they should actively opt in, not have the decision made for them. If a campaign is going to use recurring donations, they should be crystal clear about it and ensure every donor fully understands what they're signing up for. Maybe it's time for reform. Maybe campaigns shouldn't be able to have monthly donations at all. Or at the very least, the Federal Election Commission should require clearer disclosures and mandatory reconfirmations for recurring contributions. Because right now, it's too easy for well-meaning elderly voters to get caught up in something they never intended. Campaigns love to brag about their grassroots support. My campaign's no different. About the strength of their small donors. But those donors should be giving because they want to, not because they were tricked into it. Whether it's Bill Spadia's campaign or anyone else's, this practice needs to end right away.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Hey all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
By now, you have heard the news that the Department of Justice is dropping the criminal charges that Mayor Adams had been facing. It's a big break for him, but now the big question becomes, what happens to his electoral prospects? For months now, since he's been cozying up to President Trump, there have been rumors that Eric Adams may seek to run as a Republican. And in the New York Post yesterday, our boss, the owner of our radio station, John Catsimatidis, who was actually with the mayor and told him that the DOJ was dropping the charges against him. He's with him at the time, really. Talk about being at a moment in history. They were dining together at Gallagher's Steakhouse, and he told Adams about what happened. And according to what John told the New York Post, he said, quote, he's definitely thinking keeping options open. And, of course, Adams himself is a former Republican. And who knows? Will he switch back to the GOP? John said he has to make decisions now that he's a free man. He wants to win. And then in another interview, John talked about how Eric Adams should reach out to his daughter, who's the chairperson of the Manhattan Republican Party. I don't know what the best electoral strategy is for Eric Adams right now. I will say this. So let me first explain of what would have to happen for Eric Adams to run as a Republican. The deadline for switching parties and still being able to run in this year's elections, something I know something about, is Saturday. So if the mayor switches parties to the Republican Party by Saturday, he would be able to run no problem, get the signatures. I still don't think he beats Curtis in a Republican primary. If he wants to stay a registered Democrat and participate in the Democratic primary, but also run in a Republican primary, he would need a special authorization from 3 of the 5 county chairs in New York City called a Wilson Pakula. Now, Staten Island has already endorsed Curtis. I expect that Brooklyn will be endorsing him within the next day or so. And then the question becomes, what becomes of the other 3 boroughs? So if you're a Republican living in the Bronx, the Queens, or Manhattan, I think if you're a Curtis fan, you should demand that your leadership make a pledge that they're not going to give Adams a Wilson Pakula to run in a Republican primary if he stays as a registered Democrat. But either way, whether he gets a Wilson Pakula or whether he switches parties, I don't see any way in the world that Adams beats Curtis Sliwa in a Republican primary. None. We'll see. I've been wrong before. To be continued.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
If you've ever tried to cancel your cable, internet, or streaming service, you know the drill. They make it easy as pie to sign up, just a few clicks, no hassle, and you're locked in before you know it. But when you try to cancel, suddenly it's like a bad breakup. Endless holds, secret menu options, and customer service representatives trained to guilt trip you into staying. Governor Kathy Hochul says she wants to change that. Her proposal would require companies to make it just as easy to cancel a subscription as it was to sign up. Sounds great, right? But there's a catch, a big one. Her plan has a loophole large enough to drive a Comcast service van through. It wouldn't apply to any company regulated by the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC. That means the worst offenders, cable and internet providers like Verizon, Spectrum, AT&T, and Comcast, would be exempt. Even major streaming services like Disney Plus, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime Video might slip through the cracks because of their corporate structures. So instead of real consumer protection, Hochul's bill would leave New Yorkers right where they are now, stuck in a maze of frustrating customer service calls and impossible to find cancellation options. And to make matters worse, her proposal actively weakens existing state law, which already gives consumers the right to an easy online cancellation if they signed up online. If Hochul's bill passes as written, that protection could be erased. It's clear who wins here, and it's not the everyday New Yorker. It's the massive corporations that lobbied hard to keep their grip on our wallets. These companies make billions banking on the fact that most people won't jump through all the hoops to cancel. We need real reform, not a watered-down bill that helps cable giants keep their customers hostage. If Governor Hochul is serious about making life more affordable, she should start by ensuring that when New Yorkers say cancel, companies have to listen without the runaround. It makes you wonder, why is Governor Hochul doing this? I don't have any evidence. I haven't looked into what contributions these cable companies or internet companies have made to her campaign or what other financial interests might be involved here. But given what we've seen from Governor Hochul on the Buffalo Bills, on COVID policy, on a host of other issues, I would bet that if you look through Governor Hochul's campaign finance filings, you would find quite a few contributions from the very industry she's trying to help here. To be continued.